What's going on, everybody? David Feldman-Makrias back with you, and today we're going to talk about some car dealer ads on Google. Well, that's not very specific, David. What are we really talking about? Well, we're going to look at what I call classic search ads, and this is the classic type of ad that you'll see on Google. I have a few to my left here, and I just looked up Mazda dealer near me. I want to break down exactly what these look like, what they should look like, and then some common misconceptions on these type of ads and how you can make yours even better. So let's get into it right now. When I look at Mazda dealer near me, here's what shows up, and they are what we call classic search ads. Again, classic search ads happen to be, not the VLAs or vehicle listing ads that you'll see at the top, not with the actual individual car and the price. They're not really the ads associated with Google Business Profile or anything to do with the maps or anything like that. This is just a classic Google ad, right? When Google first came out, most of the results look like this with the blue hyperlink with a little description and then a URL, similar to, if we keep scrolling down, similar to this. Google has evolved, obviously, since then. And now I want to tackle what a classic search ad really is meant to look like and how you can make it better. So a couple examples. We have Schaumburg Mazda here, sponsored. They use nearby Mazda dealer, Napleton Schaumburg Mazda. Discover why Napleton Schaumburg Mazda is your premier Mazda dealership. Browse our website and view our large inventory of. Dealer Schaumburg open, closes this time. You'll notice some other blue links here and then a call us button. Notice though, and here's an image as well, but notice how this ad, Castle Mazda Downers Grove, doesn't have all those same things. They have these, it has one headline, which headlines are in blue, and then it does have a description. This, just like this one, it has a description, but then we look at the lower part, it's got some what we call call-outs, or call-outs and structured snippets are very similar, and I'm going to get into that. But it's got a few, just like a few up here, but it doesn't have these blue hyperlinks, okay? And it doesn't have a big call us button. Notice as we keep going down, the ads get a little bit less in real estate. This has pretty much one headline and a short description, no other call-outs or structured snippets. And then this one, Napleton Mazda of Naperville, has a headline but only one description. So as you get further down in the actual ad, your ad doesn't look as good. Well, why is that? Does that mean these advertisers are actually worse than these advertisers? Well, not necessarily. Google will give premier real estate, ad real estate, and premier options for those advertisers that A, pay more, right? But also B, take advantage of what they call ad assets. So a classic search ad really consists of a few things. It consists of a URL, a display URL if it's different, a headline, which is notated by these blue links, these blue big boulder links, a description, which is this text down here, and then a combination of assets. Assets being these call outs here, assets being these, or what are called site links here, assets being this call us button, and even an asset being this image. Google gets to decide, as long as you provide them, what assets it'll show based on the relevancy, based on how much you bid, so on and so forth. So an immediate way that you can make your ads more powerful without even asking Google to get in higher placement or even spend more money is give Google more assets. Okay? They used to be called extensions, so it's a little bit tricky, but in the last 6 months, a year or so, they've transitioned the word extensions, add extensions, to add assets. So we're going to be using them a little bit interchangeably, but add assets is what we're specifically talking about. And again, your core ad is your big headline up here, of course, your advertiser name and URL up here, a description, and that's your core ad. All the rest of this, the image, the site links here, the other callouts and structured snippets here, the button here, Those are all assets. They're additional, but those are ways to make your ad not only stand out, but actually can reduce your cost per click and increase your ad's efficiency. So it's highly recommended that you put ad assets in. So now I want to go to an example where we illustrate all the different type of ad assets that we would recommend. Okay, so what is this? This is a tool I just looked up. It's called Keruya. I don't know if I'm spelling that right, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is a free tool that you can actually create what's called a responsive search ad. That's a classic search ad is our branding. So this is build your own responsive search ad copy, embellish them with ad extensions like site links, call out, advertiser ratings, and so on. Share the link to this ad to your client or boss. So this is a little outdated because it doesn't include all of the ad assets. Notice they call them extensions, but assets and extensions are the same. So what we're going to show is what an ad could look like. And what this actually does is it'll cover all the main assets you should use. Google's always coming out with new stuff. So by the time you may see this, you may see more ad assets or different availability. However, these are the core ones you should explore across all your campaigns. And if you're not running your campaigns, you should tell your advertiser or whoever's running your ads to actually make sure you have all these assets being built. Not only does it make your ad look that much better, where you get better performance, but it actually could cost you less from Google in the long run. So it's a double win. All right, so I'm using a Mazda store, and I'm going to go through each ad asset, what it does, kind of what it means, and what it looks like in the back end and in the front end. So first thing that we put in, final URL, I made up mymazda.com, which actually is a Mazda owner website. Doesn't matter. It's not an existing store. We're going to use that. Notice that I have a desktop preview and a mobile preview, and we're going to go through each thing. So, headlines. Those are necessary, right? Headlines, you can add up to 15 headlines on a current RSA or responsive search ad. Again, responsive search ad and classic search ad we're actually using synonymously. So headlines, you can have up to 15. You can only 3 of them can be shown at a time, but Google doesn't even necessarily have to show 3. They only really have to show 1. It depends, right? Like if we go back here, this dealer showed 2, this dealer showed 1, this dealer showed 1, and this dealer showed 1. Maybe they showed 2. This is too many characters. I'm just not used to the dash. So I'm used to the line break. So with that, you put your headlines in. So I'm going to do a generic Mazda campaign. Best deals on new Mazdas. Let's do Mazdas. Your local Mazda dealer, ABC Mazda. So that comes out here. Best deals on new Mazdas. Your local Mazda dealer, ABC Mazda. Right? The URL goes here. And you'll see the full final URL here. You'll notice this phone number here as well. I just input that phone number. And that's when we actually get into ad assets. Right? So this is, again, extension means asset. So when this says ad call extension, that's really ad call asset. And that's what that is right here. Cool. I can also enter a path if I wanted to, like new Mazda, and that actually appends the path. I don't really see that as best practice anymore. I think back 5 years ago, even more it was maybe necessary, but people aren't necessarily even looking at that. You can add it if you so choose, but I typically don't. Notice in here I can add more headlines, but I'm not going to because I just want to show the example, but you can add a lot. So now let's get into descriptions. So again, we're still in that core ad. What's in a core ad? A URL, a headline, and a description, right? So URL, headlines, and descriptions. Description. View our discounted Mazda vehicles as we have a huge selection of new Mazdas at great prices. Visit Northwest New York's preferred Mazda dealer and drive your next Mazda today, right? So that reads out here, and you can see the text. View our discounted Mazda vehicles with a huge selection, so on and so forth. And notice that text is a little bit smaller significantly smaller and not as bold as your headlines. Again, if you want to see it here, this is what it looks like here with the full description. The ad looks nice and robust. So let's keep going. All right, so now we get into some of the assets, or what this is going to say, extensions. So I put fast and easy financing, new Mazda offers, new small and big SUVs. So here's fast and easy financing, new Mazda offers, new small and big SUVs. Those are call-out extensions or call-out assets. You can see them here on mobile as well. Again, the text is maybe a little bit smaller than the description, and they're a little bit of a different shade or different color, so they're not as prominent, but still readable and still nice. With that, under call-out assets, we look and see some other things, models. So these are what are called structured snippets. And structured snippets basically tell the user, hey, this is what this advertiser is offering. So when I come down here, I'm able to select models and then enter a few different models. So I can actually see some of the most popular models, CX-30, CX-4, and CX-5. And I'm actually going to change this to match because I'm a little obsessive that way. I'm actually going to change the models to match my next asset, which is our price extension. Okay? Now, Google has a couple different ways to do price assets or price extensions. You can do, what I've listed here. There's also promotion extensions and promotion assets and all different ways to categorize prices because there's all these different industries that advertise with Google. I feel like this is a good way to showcase some of the best offers and maybe lowest, loss leaders on Google, especially for car dealers. So that's why we put these in. So you can see here, 2025 CX-30 at this price, and then here's a little description, maybe the trim. 2025 CX-5, this price, here's the trim. 2025 CX-70 at this price, here's an available feature. So I can customize all that with my structured snippets, and then, I'm sorry, not with my structured snippets, with my price extension or price asset, and then I have what this is, what the price is, and then any little description. Notice in all of these fields I have character counts. There's only so much space that the ad can occupy. So whenever you're writing, you have to make sure you fit all this stuff in here. Okay, so then at the bottom, if we're still looking on mobile, we'll see this little maps and a call. So this is what's called our location asset or location extension. Here it is here. Address 111 North Mazda Avenue, Sugar Glen, New York. Just made it up, right? So it's in here, and then what that looks like on desktop is right here. So, pretty easy. And notice the phone number on desktop is actually listed, but the phone number on mobile is not listed. It's just a phone call button. That's very, very similar to how search engines actually use them. So that's why that's listed there. One thing I missed is this guy right here, and I think this is really powerful, especially for car dealers or any local business, is to have an advertiser rating. So that is, where is it? That is show advertising rating. So advertising ratings, again, we're all kind of familiar with 4 or 5 stars, those little gold stars on Google. When you hook up your Google Business Profile and you actually apply for an advertiser rating asset, you have to get this approved through Google. That's when this will be able to show. And again, your ad, while utilizing all of this, will actually lower your average cost per click. You could see it on desktop here as well. Now I missed a couple. Let's go back. Let's add an image asset. So if I add an image, I just need to pick a image URL. So I don't have an image hosted on a specific URL, but I tried to add one. Just imagine that you could put whatever picture you want here, and then that's what would show up when available. That's what the image asset looks like, and that's what it looks like on desktop. And this is what it looks like on mobile. Pretty nice. What other ones did we miss? Add site links. So site links are pretty important. I like site links a lot. You can have new Mazdas, used Mazdas, service, your Mazda, and then value your vehicle. You know, those are common ones. I'm going to say pre-owned Mazda verbiage. But now you can see here's our site links. So site links are a little bit different. They come up under, you know, all of our description and other call out information. And then the difference between these ones is they actually link. So if someone, you know, you can see, you can click on that. If someone links to it, then they're going to click over and they're going to see new Mazdas. You can take them directly to that inventory page or to your service page or to your value trade page. And it just gives a lot of nice information to be able to execute something for the customer. When you see it here, this is what it'll look like on mobile, roughly. Again, this is an example Google image, but this is a little bit old. You'll see something similar. But this is an ad fully filled out. And you notice when all this stuff is filled out nice, this takes up so much real estate and it looks so nice and official. Compared to looking at a more simple type of ad, like this one down here, if you have everything filled out, it's really, really helpful. What other ones did I miss? Did I miss anything? We did final URL. We did, let me move my face. We did final URL. We did headlines. We did descriptions. We did images. We did site links. We did call outs, call extensions, location extensions, again, assets. I'm interchanging them. Show advertising rating, structured snippet asset, and price asset. Yeah, that is a good amount. There might be a few more, but those are really the ones that are worth making sure all of your campaigns and ads have. I would recommend that your advertisers show you exactly what they have filled out as far as ad copy here, because I've seen time and time again that, especially with really large vendors, they don't fill out these asset information well, and that actually drives up cost per click, especially when you have competitors that are filling everything out to what they need to be. And when you look at this ad, it builds a lot of trust. It's like, wow, 4 stars, as long as you have a good advertising rating. Great. Wow, nice description. Look at all this stuff they have. Oh yeah, I was looking to service my Mazda. Oh, and the CX-5 is for $32,000. Here's their address. I can call them right away. This is a very nice, robust ad. Oh, and here's an image of their dealership or an image of a new Mazda, right? So that's best practice of what a ad is supposed to look like. Now, I'm going to end with this. Your ads, even if you put all this information in all your campaigns, your ads are not guaranteed to look like this every time, right? Notice when I go back to my real live search, notice that this ad looks probably the best, and that's because it's in the first spot and they have all the assets. So arguably in this specific auction, this store would have paid more for this click than, you know, maybe some of these guys would. But they did a better job of displaying their store. They utilized all their assets, and that way they make sure their ad looks as robust as possible. So, long story short, use all the assets you can. If you're not sure on what assets you're using, what you're currently using, whether you're not using it or whatever, you can get your ad company, your marketing person to actually tell you, have them show you visually like this, have them give you an asset or extension report and see what kind of interactions are happening with each asset, and let me know in the comments what questions you have. If you are running responsive search ads or classic search ads, I would recommend heavily that you make sure all of your assets are being utilized effectively. And if you'd like them to say certain things, you could just come to a nice tool like this, fill in some information, or get your advertising company to fill it in, and make sure that you are showcasing your ads as best as possible. All right, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody. David Feldman-Makrias. Talk to you real soon.